Shalom, shalom. This is Yair from GMS Savannah. Come with another lesson, but first and foremost, I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Yikar Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders, elder bishops, elders and elder bishops of Great Millstone, which rule well and teach well, and to the Archon pushing this 100% truth and sincerity while risking their lives, pushing this 100% truth to four corners of the earth, as well as the affiliates of Great Millstone, and to the elect of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans and speckled birds scattered amongst the heathens, which have the appearance of the heathens, which are also called Israelite foreigners because of their father goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But today's lesson we're going into is these are very serious times out here in Babylon, and a lot of our people are not, are not being smart, being foolish. This is not the time to be, not being aware of things. And right here, this young lady, the article, she vanished after one wrong turn, and her car told the whole story. Chilling details emerge in a mysterious disappearance of a 23-year-old college student in Georgia. Like I say, these females, man, here in Babylon, man, you Israelite women, man, y'all gotta be smart, man, because it's getting worse and worse out here. You doing all this traveling at night, and hey, the Lord made spirits of vengeance, man, out here. People are getting sent to the spirit realm all the time, man. It's just a very scary situation of how you Hebrew Israelites are moving. Not only just the females, but the men as well. You got to be more smart out here, man. It's just crazy, man. For this female right here to vanish. You know what I'm saying? It's a scary thing, But right here, Ephesians 5:15, and it says, "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil." We're in some very evil times. You know what I'm saying? And this female not being smart. You traveling by yourself, college student. You don't understand what's going on out here, man. These race wars are building up, gender wars. All kind of wars, man. Gender wars. If I didn't say that, it's crazy. And you're not moving yourself, being smart out here, you're going to get deleted. Nobody going to find you. But, to be traveling at night and just not knowing what the hell you're doing is just a disaster, man. It's just a disaster. But it just, hey, the Lord's children being sottish. And, like I say, a lot of our people, they figure they can travel. Things are all good. You don't see what's going on in the news right now? You Hebrew Israelites, y'all don't see what's going on out here? It just ain't the young, the old too. Y'all don't see how things are crazy out here in Babylon? That's why, Micah 2:10, arise ye and depart from this is not your rest, because it's polluted. It shall destroy you even with a soul destruction. Yeah, man, you can't have yourself at ease here in Babylon, man. You know, it's going to destroy you, man. Everything that's going on out here. You know, you feel comfortable. You know, you going out and all these different, clubs and movies and all kind of stuff is happening, man. Building, ceilings falling out. You know what I'm saying? Falling on people, just all kind of madness is going on in Babylon right now, man. It's a very scary time to be maneuvering around here, man. It's crazy. And like I say right here, Proverbs 9 and 10, they say, "Fear the Lord is the beginning of wisdom and knowledge of the holy, and the holy is understanding." Yeah, a lot of you Israelites don't have wisdom, man, and knowledge of this truth, man. You know, like I say, first of all, you still calling on Jebus. Where's the Jebus when hell breaking loose? Because you don't have any hedge over you with that Jebus. You have the hedge with Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. But like I say, our people are still foolish, man, following other gods, and hey, man, you don't have any protection. Anything is liable to happen to you out here. You know. And right here, Hebrews 10 and 31, it's a fearful thing to fall in the hands of the living power, man. You know, it's a fearful thing, man. No respect of persons. You know, you don't fear the Lord. You know, this is the kind of stuff can happen, man. This is a tragic situation, but hey, like the Lord say, hey, nobody's innocent. You a paraphrase. You get deleted. No one is innocent. Like I say, it goes deep. It goes really deep. But nobody fear the Lord. So hey, people just gonna continue to do what they want to do. And like I say, 1 Samuel 2 and 6, the Lord kill and make alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. The Lord do everything, man. That's why you got to fear the Lord. You got to fear Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. You on these highways, you traveling, you by yourself. Spirits of vengeance are everywhere out here in Babylon, all over the place. And you got to be wise when you travel. Travel during the daytime. Don't travel at night. If you can, don't travel alone. These college students, getting out of college, driving back, some driving long distances. And a lot of this gonna go on. But you don't hear a lot of this stuff in the on the television. You don't hear about a lot of this stuff. But it goes on a lot. But our people got to be more smart, and they got to move circumspectly out here. Because the times are evil. It's just a shame. You gotta be wise. You gotta have more wisdom with yourself. Your females and you Jakes. Y'all gotta be smart out here, man. Because you are a target. You're gonna continue to be a target. You gotta be wise out here. You definitely gotta be wise. You gotta be smart, whatever you do. But like I say, if you don't have that umbrella of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you subject to get, what I'm saying, some kind of judgment. Definitely can get a very, very awful judgment where you get sent to the spirit realm. And like I say, the Lord signs off on everything, man. He killeth and make alive. So like I say, A lot of people got to repent, man. Come back to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. But like I say, a lot of the 2/3, the hell with them. This is just pretty much for the elect. Just move smart out here. Be wise. Know your surroundings. Try not to travel at night by yourself. Stay out of these little small towns, these little sundown towns, which majority of them still are. You just got to be smart out here. you know. But I hope this was edifying to the hopeful sheep and the lamb. Kwam Yasharala, on to the next lesson. The water Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. You gotta move smart out here, Israel. You gotta move smart. Shalom.